At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away.
What was the Lorax and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back.
Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami Swans rang out in space. One morning, I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed.
The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump. Of the tree I chopped down, it was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard, I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish, and brownish and mossy. And he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft?" "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees."
"I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." And I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I placed a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here quick, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right on South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were knitting thneeds just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees.
Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker that whacked off 4 truffula trees with one smacker. We were knitting thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that little Lorax, he didn't show up anymore.
But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped. "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, but you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and eating happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go all around. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies in my tummies, you know?
Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance, Lorax, came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed.
He sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a querulous croak. Onceler, you're making such smogless smoke.
What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about glippity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making glippity-glup, also sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you.
At that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came the sickening smack of an axe on a tree. We heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved my goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I.
The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face as he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess.
But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better, it's not. So, catch, says the Onceler. He let something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack, then the Lorax and all of his friends will come back.